Hey, it's Matt from Tradesman Digital Marketing. In today's video, I'm going to walk you through how to set up a proper and successful search campaign inside Google Ads. Now, first off, what is a search campaign? A search campaign allows you to run search ads inside Google Ads. Now, you may be wondering, what does a search ad look like? A search ad looks like this, and essentially, if you scroll down here, you can see and ad. These are all search ads, and if they're done properly, you can have absolutely tremendous success in generating leads for your service-based business. And even if you're in e-commerce, tremendous success with that for selling products. But this video is going to be specifically for service-based businesses. So think HVAC, pool installation, commercial cleaning, anything that you can really sell over the phone or through an email inquiry and actually generate a lead through that. This is the campaign for you. We're not really going to dive into e-commerce because that's going to be a different strategy. But for this campaign will work very well for any service-based business, or 99% of service-based businesses, I should say. And all the tips and tricks I'm going to show you in here should help generate you a lot of leads. So first off, how do we go about generating a search campaign inside Google Ads? The first thing we're going to do is hit all campaigns, and then we're going to scroll down here to campaigns, and then we're going to hit the nice blue plus icon here. Then we're going to hit new campaign, and this screen will pop up and it'll say, what is your campaign objective? And what we're going to tell Google is we want to focus on leads, because that's what this campaign is going to be about, generating as many leads as possible for our company. Now we're going to scroll down here, and as you can see, the conversion goals are important. This is what Google is going to use to optimize and improve and figure out how to get you more leads through these conversion goals. So it's very important that you set up conversion tracking properly. I'm not going to go through conversion tracking in this video because it's different for everyone. But I would recommend you having a call tracking service, so a third-party call tracking service like CallRail, which uses a forwarding number, and it allows you to very accurately take in data from CallRail to Google and allow Google's AI to optimize for it. And then I would also recommend having conversion tracking properly set up on a landing page or a website, and then having a thank you page after that, which has a trigger event. These two ways of tracking are almost flawless. They absolutely are awesome when it comes to making sure your campaign is set up properly. It's not overcomplicated. Almost anyone can understand that, yeah, we got an email inquiry, and yeah, we got a phone call. Very simple to do. I have a conversion tracking video on this YouTube channel. If you're curious, you can go check it out. But there's so many different conversion options out there in the world. You can do, WordPress. You can do all these different things. So for me to cover everything, it would make a very, very long video. But for this, I'm going to just skip it. But please, please, please make sure you have your conversion tracking set up. It is vital to your account. What we're going to do is hit continue, and then we're going to come down here to select a campaign type. And we have a multitude of campaign types, but for this one, we're going to hit search because we want search ads. And I find search performs the best. Yeah, display can work too when selling products or doing remarketing, but for the vast majority of businesses, search ads are the way to go. You're going to generate a lot of leads for yourself quickly and effectively, and generally very cost effectively. So that's what I would recommend. The next thing we can do is select the ways we would like to reach our goal. So we can enter in our phone number here, and we can enter in our website. If we have a website, we can enter it in here. And please, if you have a phone call, make sure the correct country is selected. If you don't select the correct country, your phone call or your phone number will be denied, and you won't be able to get phone call extensions from your ad. So that's very important, as phone call extensions, a lot of people just click on them, and it's a very big part of a lot of campaign success. So we're going to enter in our phone number here. I'm just going to paste that, and then we're going to be doing Elite Pools. They're a company here in Canada. Shout out to them just for this example. And then we're going to scroll down. If you have, for example, app store visits or lead form submissions, you could add them. But for the vast majority of businesses, you don't need to worry about this. They're not applicable. I would just skip that. The next thing is campaign name, and we're going to name this something that we can easily identify. So we're going to do pool installation for this campaign. Pool installation, we'll do dash elite pools. And then we're going to hit continue. Now that we're into bidding, this is a very important section of the actual campaign process, and we need to know what we're going to bid, and we need to know our actual bid strategy for our campaign. What we're going to do is come up here to tools and settings. It's probably under my face here, but it's a little wrench icon, and then we're going to come over to the keyword planner. And what I recommend doing is looking up keywords that are relevant to your campaign. So this could be pool installation, fiberglass pool installation, vinyl pool installation. If you're an HVAC, HVAC repair, HVAC installation. I would recommend not going too niche though. So say you were an HVAC, don't do HVAC smart thermostats or something very, very niche where the search volume is not going to be really there, and that keyword could just be really overpriced for some odd reason. I don't know. Please make it a very general keyword that most people would be searching for. This gives you a really good idea of what the keywords are actually going to cost. So we're going to come over here to our keyword planner. We're going to hit discover new keywords. And a very important thing here is to geo-modify this. If you do not geo-modify this, you're not going to get accurate data. So please make sure you enter in the location you want to be targeting. So we're going to do Hamilton, Ontario. We'll do Mississauga, and we'll do Toronto, which are three pretty big cities around here. And we're going to hit save. And now we've geo-modified this for our actual location, meaning we're going to get data from these areas as opposed to just all of Canada or all of the country you're already in. That's not detailed enough for us. So we're going to do pool installation. We'll do fiberglass pools. Actually, fiberglass pool installation. And we'll do vinyl pool installation. And of course, whatever the keywords are for your campaign or whatever service or product you're offering, please enter in them there. Don't just follow me step for step. So now we can see we have our examples of what our keywords are going to cost. So as you can see here, one of the most important things here, there's two main important things here. One is the average monthly searches. If we have 0 to 10, that's not a very high amount. And we need a certain amount of searches to make this account successful. If this is anywhere from 0 to even $10,000 in ad spend, chances are if you have a handful of keywords with 10 to $100 or 100 searches a month, you should be fine. But anything more than that, you really need to find search volume. If you have 0 to 10, like I just said, that's probably not going to be enough, and you're not going to spend your money, and you're not going to get the lead. So make sure there is enough search volume. Make sure you have a handful of keywords that have decent search volume behind them. 100 to 1,000 searches a month is absolutely fantastic. That's what we want. And keep in mind, these are like 3 cities. They are big cities, but they're not all of Ontario here in Canada. So we could expand our area out to increase these monthly searches. But please keep in mind the average monthly searches, as that is very important to account success. The next thing that is important here is our top of page bid, low range and high range. And essentially what this means is the price people can pay to be on the top of page, the lowest they're paying, and the highest they're paying. And generally what I like to do is add these two numbers up, divide by 2, and then maybe add a couple dollars depending on what we're going for. And what I recommend for every search campaign to start off with is a maximum click strategy. And the reason for that is we want as much data in the account as possible before we hand the reins over to Google and let it optimize. We want to figure out what keywords we want to be going after that are already profitable, that Google could make more profitable. In order to do that, we need the data, and we need to figure out what keywords are good, which ones are bad, and we need to do it very quickly. So what we could do here is we're going to switch it to maximize clicks, and then we're going to set a maximum cost per click bid limit. And this is where the top of page and low range and high range come in. What we're going to do is add these two numbers up. So $17, let's add that up to 20, divided by 2 is 10. And we'll put a nice bid limit here of $10 in. And another thing you should do is scroll through here and actually read all these numbers and just take a mental note of what they're going for. If the vast majority of these are going for, $20 or $30, and I just, cherry pick the one that was low, chances are I'm not going to show, because the vast majority of these keywords are not going to be in that price range, and Google's just not going to show our ad because they're not going to be bidding high enough. Now, as we can see through here, most of these high range bids are well below $10 or right at $10. So $10 should be more than enough to get some results. Now, we may want to change that later on. And what you can do is adjust your columns and look at search impression share loss due to budget. You have to do this at a campaign level. But essentially what it says is how many views are we losing due to our budget, and our budget not being high enough. And that gives you a really good indication of whether or not your bid limit is high enough, at least for the first month. Once we go and change it to a target CPA, I recommend once we have right around 30 conversions in a month, we should be good to switch it over to target CPA and be good to go from there. And all we have to do for that is adjust our settings later on, and we just have to change our bidding to conversions, hit target CPA. And again, once we have 30 or so conversions, this may be different for every campaign because you have different amount of leads coming in, but Google will give you an automated CPA, so a target cost per action. And essentially, I like to put $3 or $4 above that, just so it gives Google a little bit more room to run with, and you should be able to generate consistent leads time and time again. But that's once we have 30 conversions. So for right now, we're going to come back to maximum clicks. We're going to set our bid limit for $10, and we should be getting, impressions, clicks, and leads. If we see absolutely no impressions whatsoever, chances are our maximum cost per click bid limit is too low, and we'll have to go in and raise that. But only do that after a couple days of letting your account run. I wouldn't do that right off the bat, just because sometimes Google does take a little bit of time to get running. So give it a couple days before adjusting your maximum cost per click bid limit. The next thing is our campaign settings. Now, this is super important, and it really allows us to guide the campaign with where we want to go. Now, the first two things are the search network and the display network, both of which we want to turn off. If, for whatever reason, we don't have enough search volume, you can absolutely come back to the search network and include Google search partners. And all this essentially is Google allows other search engines to use their advertising platform, and your ads will pop up on their advertising platform, so other search engines. This is great if you need more search volume, but for the majority of people, these clicks and the people from these other search engines aren't as high quality as Google. And I'm saying this as a stereotype. Sometimes they're absolutely fantastic, but for us, the vast majority of the time, we choose to not include it. We only really include it if we don't have enough search volume and we need more searches. Other than that, we generally don't choose to add it into our network settings. The next thing is the display network. The display network, if you want to make a display campaign, you absolutely can. I have no issues with display campaigns, but it should have its own campaign. And for whatever reason, Google decided to add it into the network settings in a search campaign. This is an absolutely terrible thing to do because you're not able to segment it. You're not able to adjust it. You're not able to, play around with it as you would in a actual display campaign. So there's really no reason to run this. This is one of the settings I absolutely despise inside Google Ads. I don't know why it's here other than for Google to essentially steal money from you guys. So I would turn this off. I turn this off in every single campaign. There is no reason to run it inside a search campaign. If you want to make it your own display campaign, absolutely you can. But inside of a search campaign, absolutely useless. Please don't run this. The next thing is the location settings. So we're going to come down here to location settings, and we're going to hit location options. And the first thing we're going to do is enter in another location. So we've chosen our first three cities we're going to target. We're going to come over here to advanced search, click on this, and we're going to type in our cities. So we did Hamilton, Ontario, and we're going to hit target. One cool feature about this is we can hit nearby, and it's going to pop up a nice list of all the cities nearby. We could choose to, include or exclude Burlington. Let's, for the sake of it, let's hit target. This is just an example. Hamilton, we'll add Hamilton. We'll add Mississauga. Not Mississippi. Two very different areas. Toronto. And that's how we add cities inside of our location settings. One thing I should note is a lot of service-based businesses just work off the, a 50-mile radius or 100-mile radius or whatever. They don't really care what city it's from as long as it's within a certain radius. One thing you can do in here is actually set a radius. So say we wanted to do a 20-mile radius around Toronto. We absolutely can. So we just come over here to Toronto and we hit target. Right now it's set for 20. You could switch that to 50, 100, whatever you want to set it for. You can also change it to kilometers if you're more familiar with that, or miles, whatever you're familiar with that. And then we just hit target, and our nice little radius comes up here, and we're good to go. Another thing I should note is we want to exclude areas we will not be targeting. This just helps a little bit with getting less calls and less inquiries from out of the targeted area. Is it going to do a massive amount? Probably not, but it does help a little bit, and I would recommend doing a little bit of exclusion around your target area. So Barrie, what's a nice city around here? Let's do Oshawa, exclude. Let's exclude Guelph. And what I would do is essentially make a nice little wall around our blue area of all red of where we don't want to target, and just tell Google we really don't want to target there, and generally you'll get better results if you have the areas excluded. But for the sake of time, I'm not going to do that just because you guys get the point. Put a nice red wall around this and you should be good. And then once we're done with that, we're going to come down here to save, and we have set our location targeting. As you can see here, all of our targeted locations have been added and our excluded areas as well. Another important factor in Google Ads that a lot of people overlook. Please look at this. Please make sure you adjust this. This is very, very important. What we're going to do here is we only want to target people in our targeted locations. We don't want to target people who are interested in our target location. So say someone types in and they're in New York City. They type in pool installation Toronto. If we have interest selected here, we're going to pop up for that. And a lot of people just burn so much money because they don't target presence here. It's very essential that you only select presence if you want to be targeting only people in that area. Now, there are circumstances where search interests could definitely be used. Say you're in a car rental and a lot of your people are coming from, out of country, out of state, whatever. Absolutely, you could use the search interest function, but for most service-based businesses, they only want to target people who are actually in their target location, and they're only interested in that. So I would recommend setting it as presence. The next thing is the exclusion feature. Now, this is one of the most overlooked things in Google, and I don't know why. Essentially, you can have this funny business of Google allowing people to search for areas outside of your targeted area, but they're in your area. So, for example, say they were in Hamilton, which is an area we're targeting, and they type in Guelph pool installation. We're liable to pop up for that if we don't select presence or interest. So please select presence or interest. It's just one of those funky things Google does to try and get a little bit more money from you. Please put presence or interest for 99% of the businesses. That's your best option. The next thing is languages. So we're going to come down here and we can add any language we really want inside Google Ads. They have a whole bunch. If we want to add Croatian, we can add Croatian. All you have to do is check it. What I would recommend doing for this, if you're going to do multiple languages inside Google Ads, I recommend building out their own campaigns. I find it's very confusing if you have multiple languages in a single campaign, and it's also very difficult to segment which one's performing better. So maybe you have a campaign in French and you have a campaign in English. If you have them both in the same campaign, it's kind of difficult to figure out, okay, French is performing better than English or English is performing better than French. It's just much easier to put them in their own campaign. So that's what I would recommend doing. But if you choose to do so, you absolutely can add your own language or a secondary language to this. But for now, I only speak English, and that's what we're going to go with. So on to the next thing. The next thing is audience segments. So we're going to click on audience segments here, and this is a nice little feature inside Google Ads I really like. And essentially, Google segments audiences inside of its search history, and it tracks essentially everything you do, and it can put people inside of certain groups. And what I like to do here is just add every single thing that is kind of relatable to our product or service. So let's do home improvement, swimming enthusiasts, landscape design, garden and outdoor furniture, maybe even home and garden, anything loosely related, I would add. And essentially what we're going to do here is just put it in observation mode. As you can see down here, it's in observation mode already. This will just allow Google to gather information from all the clicks you're getting. And it has already determined where these people are in terms of groups and audience segments. So it'll just give you information if any of these segments are really more valuable to you. And then in month 2 or 3, if say, the swimming enthusiast affinity segment up here is really doing well, we can switch it over to target and we only want to go after those people. We can absolutely do so. But for right now, we don't have that data. So leave it in observation mode, let it gather the data, and then follow the data on which one you should go after. And maybe none of them pan out, maybe one of them pans out, maybe multiple ones pan out. It really depends on your circumstance. But that's what I would do. Leave it in observation mode for right now, and on to the next thing. So we're going to hit more settings, and these are 3 very important settings as well. Ad rotation here. This used to be really controversial when Google's AI wasn't that good. People would go put it into do not optimize because they didn't trust Google for optimizing their ads and figuring out which ad was best. And for the most part, Google's AI sucked for a long time. But right now, Google's AI is at the point where it's absolutely fantastic. It can figure out what ads are best performing. It will put those in the top spot so you get the best results. And I always recommend putting it as optimized. If there's something really funny going on in your account and you're like, why are my click-through rates really, really low? You can absolutely set it as do not optimize. And we sometimes do this to essentially troubleshoot and figure out what's wrong with the ad. But very rarely will we put it in do not optimize. For the vast majority of people, optimize is completely fine, and I would recommend going with it. The next thing is we're going to hit more settings again, and we can add a start and end date. So say you're unfamiliar with Google Ads and you're a little hesitant and you're not sure whether or not you can get back into your ads account, you can set an end date and it will turn the account off and you will no longer spend any money. If you're brand new to Google Ads, this is probably a very good feature for you. All you have to do is select your start date. So let's say we're going to start today, and then we can select our end date and we can put it as, July 13th or whatever. I'm not going to do this, but if you wanted to do that, you absolutely can. It'll turn the account off, turn your campaign off. You will no longer spend any money and your ads will stop running. That's just a nice fail-safe method. I generally recommend that for new people, just in case for whatever reason, if you get locked out of the account or whatever. It's nice to have. The next thing is ad schedule. Now this is super important. So many people overlook it. Essentially for ad schedule, I generally recommend running Mondays to Fridays. And the reason for this is Mondays to Fridays, most people are out of job. They don't have all that much time on their hands, and they're just going to go with the first person they can find on Google. And this generally results in a lot better conversion rates, a lower cost per lead, and just generally better success overall for your account. Now, Saturdays and Sundays, can they be, useful? Can they generate really good leads? Absolutely, but for the vast majority of businesses, I recommend running Mondays to Fridays. Another thing is, what hours should you run? And I recommend running any hour that you can effectively return the call quickly to your customer, to the lead who has inquired about your business. If the lead has to wait 8 hours for you to return a call, chances are they're just going to go find someone else. So please make sure you're only running your ads when you can effectively and quickly respond to your leads. So if your hours are, let's say, 8 till 5, run it 8 till 5. Don't run it 24/7. You're just going to burn a whole bunch of money. So for setting our ad schedule, all we have to do is come over here to all days. We're going to hit Mondays to Fridays. I'll set it for 8 a.m. till 5 p.m. just because that's a general work schedule for most people. And we'll do 1700. And now our ad schedule has been set. If you want to add separate things, so maybe you wanted to run Saturdays and Sundays on a different day, you absolutely can. You just hit add and then select Saturdays and Sundays and set the time. You're good to go. In terms of more settings, we're going to hit more settings. The campaign URL options are very important when it comes to tracking keywords. So if you have CallRail or another third-party tracking service, you can enter in your tracking template here. But for most people, you don't really need a tracking template. If you're just going to be using Google's own features, you're good to go. You don't really have to fill that out. Another thing is dynamic search ads. If you don't have a massive website that is fully indexed, this does not apply to you. Please don't use dynamic search ads. If you don't have an indexed website, you're just going to burn a whole bunch of money. And essentially what dynamic search ads are is just Google's attempt at creating ads based on the stuff on your landing page and then trying to run and A/B test it against people and the keywords you're targeting. This works well, again, if you have a super expansive website and it's fully indexed, Google has all the information. If you have a limited website, this isn't going to work for you. And for most service-based businesses, you shouldn't be using dynamic search ads. It's only really meant for massive businesses. For most people, you can just skip it. Now we're on to keywords and ads. And the first thing we're going to do is rename our ad group. So we're going to click on the little pencil icon here, and we'll type in for our first ad group, fiberglass pools. Let's put fiberglass pool installation. And then we can come down here and we can enter in the name of our website if we have one, and it will generate a whole list of keywords that are associated with our website, or we can just enter in the product or service. So we could also put pool installation. We'll put fiberglass pool installation because that'll be a little bit more accurate. Fiberglass pool installation, a little bit more accurate and relevant to us. And we're going to hit update keywords. Yes, replace this, just because this is very general and we want very detailed and accurate keywords when we're coming up with the ads. So when picking keywords, the first thing I recommend doing is one, getting rid of anything related to cost. Cost is generally very bad because these people are looking for the lowest price. Anything related to discount, cheap, cost, these people are already looking for discount products. And if we're selling an $80,000 pool, that's generally not our target customer. So I get rid of anything related to pricing right off the bat. We really want this to be very accurate and very detailed when it comes to our keywords. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to adjust a few of these keywords just because I want certain ones. Let's do fiberglass in-ground pool installation. We can do in-ground pool company. We can do fiberglass pool installation. And another thing we can do here is just come back to our actual keyword planner and scroll through here and find keywords related to us. Fiberglass pool installers near me, that's an absolutely fantastic one. We can copy and paste that here. Fiberglass pool prices installed. I'm going to just scroll through here and get rid of all the ones I don't think are relevant. Average cost, estimate or no. Anything related also to brands or other companies, I recommend getting rid of. If someone, say your competitor is XYZ Pools, please don't target them. I know there's a incentive to try and steal clicks, trying to steal their customers. But if someone is willing to type in your competitor's name or your business name, chances are, even if your ad is there, they're only going to click on it by mistake. They're going to call you or email you and then figure out you're not the company and then hang up. And you're just going to waste money doing that. And there are circumstances where, trying to steal clicks will pay off. Generally in e-commerce where the products are very similar and the brands don't make much of a difference. But for the vast majority of service-based businesses, they have brand recognition, and you're not going to sway someone who's already decided, I want this company instead of your company. Those are not the people to go after. Generally, your cost per lead is going to be super high, and they're not going to be people who actually want to go through with you when it comes to your service. So I would recommend not going after any competitor. I think it's just a waste of money. So we're going to get rid of all of that. Anything, again, related to, there's a lot of cost here. Wow. Okay, cool. We'll fiberglass contractors near me, that's fine. Pool builders, that's fine. Fiberglass pool, that's fine. So now what we've done is found our keywords. I would recommend anywhere from at least 10 to 20 keywords per ad group. But right now inside Google Ads, they've just made a massive change to the actual match types. And what a match type is essentially how wide can Google cast its net when coming up with search terms. So if someone types in fiberglass pool installation, and we have it in broad match. So there's three different types. There's broad match, phrase match, and exact match, as you can see down here. If we put fiberglass pool installation as broad match, we're liable to pop up for fiberglass pool installation companies hiring near me. That's not a keyword we want to go after. And for the longest time, we would only use phrase match and exact match because it was very, very tight on the things we could actually target. And we wouldn't want to go after all these random keywords that we had no interest in actually going after. So we use phrase and exact match. The current changes to Google Ads has made phrase match a lot more lenient, and I'm not a big fan of it unless you need new search terms to go after and you're just out of search terms you can't think of anymore. There's just no way of finding any more search terms. You could absolutely use phrase match, but I'd only put like one or two in the actual ad group, and then I'd probably turn them off once you came up with new keyword ideas. For the vast majority of this, I would recommend running an exact match, filling out a nice little list of keywords associated with your product or service, and then going from there, checking it out. If you're not getting the search volume you need, add more keywords in exact match. This really limits you on the amount of money you're available to spend on keywords that you actually want to target. So you're not going to waste a whole bunch of money on just garbage keywords that you have no interest in targeting. So what we're going to do here is actually copy all of our keywords because we have to put these in actual brackets, which it's going to take a bit of time, and I don't like doing it because I'm lazy. So we're going to come over here to Adwords Wrapper, which is a tool I absolutely love. We're going to copy and paste our keywords here, hit wrap keywords. We're going to scroll down to exact match. We're going to hit copy, and we're going to paste these all in here. And now all of our keywords are now an exact match. Like I said before, please add more to this. This is just for the sake of an example, and I'm trying to be as time efficient as possible because I don't want to bore you guys. Now that we have our keywords done, we're going to move on to our ad. And we want our ads to be as relevant to the keyword as possible. A lot of people ask me, how many keywords can I put in the actual ad group, and how, relevant do the keywords actually need to be? And my response to this is, are the keywords, when someone types in this keyword, so say they type in fiberglass in-ground pool company near me or fiberglass pool installation near me, if this ad pops up, are they going to be happy with it? Because if you had, fiberglass pool installation, someone types that in, and then you have a, vinyl pool installation come up, that's not relevant. That's not, something the customer is looking for. So if it's relevant, you can add the keyword. If it's not relevant, please don't add the keyword. Make it out a new ad group, build out more keywords, build out new ads. That's my recommendation. So what we're going to do is put our final URL in here. It's giving us a warning just because it's probably not in HTTPS format. Yep. So enter in your actual whole URL here. Make sure it's got the HTTPS so it's secure. And then we're going to move on to the display path. So the display path is essentially a nice little visual for the customer that just shows you're a little bit more customized than your competition. So I'll put fiberglass pool installation. And all it does is just show a nice little extension here, fiberglass pool installation. A lot of people don't take the time to actually do this inside Google Ads, and it just gives you a little edge over the competition. I like doing it. It makes it look more customized, and it makes it look more unique to the customer's problem, and shows that you're more specific to their problem. And if you're more specific to their problem, chances are they're going to pick you. One thing I should add in here is the actual URL. I kind of skipped over this. You should be using, for vast majority of businesses, landing pages. And this is essentially a single page It has, a call to action. Maybe it's an email inquiry and a phone number, and that's it. And it has some reasons to buy. This is the best way to convert customers, in my opinion. I don't like using websites because they don't convert as well as landing pages, and you can get a landing page really cheaply made. You can host it on a site like Unbounce or Instapages, or you can even host it on WordPress for very cheap, and it just converts so much better than a normal website. So that's one thing I really think you guys should consider when building out a search campaign. Really consider using a landing page. They do make a massive difference. The next thing is headlines. So headlines are very important here, and we have a whole bunch of headlines here that we can choose from. So we have 15 available headlines, and I would recommend filling all of them out. And the reason for this is we want to give Google as many opportunities to figure out the best possible setup for us. And the more headlines, the more descriptions we put in, the more likely Google is to find a winning ad, and we'll have a substantially increased click-through rate, which in turn gives you a better, ad rank, which in turn gives you cheaper cost per clicks, which generates you more leads, which makes your account more successful. So please fill in all of these headlines. I'm going to go ahead, fill in all of these, and then I'll come back. All right, so I went ahead and filled in all of these headlines and descriptions, and I'm going to walk you through essentially how we come up with the actual headlines. First of all, the one thing I should mention here is for optimal ad performance, this is very important to consider, and these are essentially your actual keywords in your account: fiberglass pool builder, fiberglass in-ground pool installation. These should be relevant to the headline. So as you can see here, fiberglass pool installation is one of our headlines. Please put the actual keyword you're targeting, the main one, at least somewhere in one of these headlines. It really does help with click-through rates. If people see exactly what they typed in, chances are they're going to click on it. Very important tidbit there. The next thing is we always add the actual name of the company here. So we have Elite Pools here. I just switched it out. Completely forgot about that. But yeah, the actual name of the company is super important. Sometimes it does have a massive effect on the actual click-through rate. Sometimes it doesn't, but I always like to add it in just to be safe. The next thing is we really want to give the customer a reason to click on us. So maybe it's 2-year warranty, maybe it's award-winning, maybe it's certified installers, whatever it is. Put it in your headline, make sure it's nice and big, and make sure the actual customer can see it and they go, yeah, that's what I was looking for, or I'm looking for, looking for a pool in your backyard with a question mark. That's a great way. It's a question. It really differentiates yourself from the competition. Looking to build your dream pool, stuff like this. Really identify the customer's problem. So maybe it's, they're looking for a pool, and then give them a reason to buy. So maybe it's, 2-year warranty, and then a call to action. So a call to action could be schedule a free assessment, call now for a free quote, book your free pool inspection today, or whatever it is. So essentially identify, give them a reason, and then call to action. Those are generally how we come up with our headlines. And as you can see here, we have 2-year warranty, award-winning fiberglass pools, GTA pool installation. A nice headline you can always add in is the actual area. So GTA is Greater Toronto Area. So you can put in Toronto pool installation, Hamilton pool installation, wherever your area is. If you can make it more unique to your customer's problem, they're going to be more likely to click on it. And it's absolutely a fantastic thing to do. Moving on, we have certified award-winning pools. You can put in certified installers. Whatever makes you different, whatever really stands out and answers the customer's problem, you absolutely can put it in here. Schedule a free assessment. That's a call to action. Build your dream pool today. Looking for a backyard pool. Free estimate. Local pool installation. Certified pools. Pool installation companies near me. Pool companies near me. I'd probably switch those up to fiberglass pools, but for the sake of time, we'll just skip that. For descriptions, we really want to just go into more detail about what we have to offer. So maybe it's 20 years of experience. Call now for a free quote. Award-winning pools. Dozens of happy customers that you can see here. Fiberglass and vinyl swimming pool services in Canada. Call now for a free quote. Lifetime guarantee. We just really want to go into more detail on why they should pick us in the description. Not many people are actually going to read the description, but it's important that you fill all of them out. It really makes your ad stand out, especially if you actually put some time and effort into all this. I recommend putting a lot of time and effort. Yeah, it's going to take you a little bit the first time around, but once you have this, Google's going to test all of these headlines, and chances are you'll see a very good return on your time spent. Another thing I should mention is try to use all the space available. We want our ad to be as big as possible, because the bigger the ad, the more likely it is to be seen, the more likely it is to be clicked on. So try to get as close to 30 characters, that's our limit here, as possible, because we want our ad to be as big and noticeable as possible. For URL options, you can add a tracking template if you want. We're going to skip that for now because we're not adding a tracking template to this. And then we're going to hit next. So the next thing is our actual extensions, and these are very important because, again, like I said before, we want to make our ad as big as possible, and extensions allow us to do this. And essentially all an extension is an extension of your ad, which Google can choose to show if they think your ad is like relevant to the customer, or if they don't choose to do so, they don't choose to do so. It's kind of random, but generally, the better your ad is, the more likely they are to show your extension, and the better your click-through rate is going to be. So please make sure to fill all of these out. Now, the different types of extensions I would recommend adding right off the bat are your site link extensions, your callout extensions, your call extension, your structured snippet extension, and if you choose to do so, a lead form extension. These are the ones we want right off the bat. They're very important as they're going to make our ad a lot more visible to most people. So first thing is, what is a site link extension? A site link extension is essentially a little bit of information below your ad, which allows your customer to go to a different part of your website. So essentially all it is a link to a different part of your site. So if you've ever seen an ad and then it'll have like maybe fiberglass, vinyl, and in-ground pools below it, and they're all blue, and you can just click on whatever one you want, and it'll just direct you to a different part of the website. So this is very important to fill out. I would recommend adding all the things that are relevant to your customer's problem. So maybe testimonials are very important. So you could do one on testimonials. And then we could enter in the description could be, you know, thousands of happy customers. Check out our video testimonials. And then we'll enter in our final URL. So this is where we actually want the traffic to go to. So we could put this should be, you know, testimonials, but it's just part of their website that I'm using. The next one could be fiberglass pools. And the description for this could be, you know, award-winning fiberglass pools. Check out our finished pools. So that's essentially what it could be. I would move on. I'd put vinyl pools, and then I'd probably do in-ground pools as well. I'm just going to go ahead and actually finish all of this so it doesn't bore you. So I'll be right back. All right, so I went ahead and filled all of them out. I think this is all right. I would probably add a few more site links. I would add as many as we could that would be realistically relevant to the customer. This, again, allows Google to A/B test all these, so figure out which one's the best to show, and it gives you the best chance of success. So I would go ahead, add more site links here, but for the sake of time, we're just going to hit save, and these are going to be our site links. We're going to choose to add these, and then we'll move on to our callout extensions. Now, callout extensions we can add here. We can just put lifetime guarantee, and these are just little snippets of text that actually go below your ad, and it's just a highlight of what you have to offer to the customer. So lifetime guarantee, award-winning pools, you know, free quote. You could have free inspection. You could have you know, thousands of testimonials or whatever. These are the highlights of what we have to offer and why the customer should pick us. So make them very simple, but make sure they stand out. So lifetime guarantee, free quotes, certified installers, award-winning pools. And again, much like these site link extensions, add as many as you can. It'll give you the better chance of success. So we're going to hit save, and then we'll move on. As you can see, we already added a few. We already have a few in this account, but you can just add on whatever ones you want. You could select a 2-year warranty, award-winning pools, whatever you want to do. We're just going to add the ones we've generated right now to our campaign. And as you can see here, they pop up of the ones we want to add. So those are the ones. Call extension, super important here. We're just going to add one of the phone numbers. Actually, no, I'll type it in because for sake of example, be professional here. So we're going to add in our phone number here, and this will essentially pop up below the ad. It's generally shown on mobile devices. It can show up on PCs and stuff like that, but most of the time it just shows up on your phone when people search for your product or service. This will pop up, and they can just call you directly instead of actually clicking on your search ad. They can just click on this link, and it'll directly call you. It's really nice, and can be very effective for generating leads. So we're just going to hit save, and we're good for call extensions. Please make sure your call extension is somewhere on your website or landing page. That is very important, or else it will more than likely get denied. So please make sure it's on the site. The next thing I would add is structured snippet extensions. And all of this is essentially Google allows you the option to have a multitude of like brands, or you know what, I'll just pull this up: brands, courses, degrees, program, and you can just list out whatever you have. So say we have, multiple styles of pools. So we could do fiberglass pools, in-ground pools, vinyl pools. And I know a lot of this seems like we're just repeating the same things we're already saying, but this is going to make our ad bigger. It's going to be more likely to be seen. It's going to up your click-through rate, and it's super important to do this. Add as many as you can. You can just hit add value here and add more. But again, these little extensions, I know they seem boring at times, but they're very important to a campaign success. So please take your time, go through all these and fill them out correctly. We're going to hit more extensions. And the final one you could consider adding is a lead form extension. So essentially people can just submit a lead directly through Google. They don't actually have to go to your website. You can add that if you want. I'm not going to add it for this one, but that's another one I consider. Two other ones you could also consider would be price extensions and promotion extensions. Now, price extensions, I generally only use them when we're selling something that is really based off price. So if we were going after, the lowest cost pools or stuff like that, and we were always going to beat the competitor on price, a price extension could be super useful. But for most service-based businesses we work with, we tend to stay away from price extensions because we're more higher end. Price isn't generally the biggest factor when coming and making a decision on the customer's point of view. They want something done correctly. They're willing to pay for it. Generally, price extensions aren't really meant for that type of service. But if your service is, really based on price, you can absolutely add a price extension. It just shows you what the actual prices for your services are, and you can add that. Promotion extensions are generally in the same boat. You can add a discount or whatever to your ad. They can work absolutely fantastic for businesses that are always running promotions and stuff like that. But again, that gives the impression that it's sale. If someone's looking for a deal, generally, if you're a higher end brand, you don't really want to run them. But for companies that want to run promotions, you absolutely can. You just add the promotion extension. So the next thing I would recommend doing is hitting next, and we're going to come up with our budget. So we recommend putting. We did a maximum cost per click way back when in the campaign settings or bidding settings of $10 a click. And what we want is at least one conversion a day. And most of the time, a 20% conversion rate is pretty easy to achieve. So I would recommend if we have a 20% conversion rate on our landing page, or website, meaning that 1 in 5 people will convert into a lead, we are going to need at least 5 clicks to get 1 lead a day. And that means, what is 10 times 5? Because we need 5 clicks. That's $50. So we would set our campaign to $50, and it's as simple as that. If you want to add more, you absolutely can. I'm always in favor of adding a little bit more. Generally, you'll see better results, and it gives Google a little bit more room to run. Generally, go more than less. If you go too little, you're not going to see the impressions, you're not going to see the clicks, and it's going to be a real pain to optimize your account. So I always recommend spending a little more and seeing those results easily optimize your account, and generally, you'll be able to make a more profitable campaign quicker just because you can optimize. We're going to hit next, and then we're going to review our account. Okay, as you can see here, our campaign settings, low traffic expected. This is because we didn't add enough keywords. We understand that. Please add, a lot of keywords, like at least 10 to 20 keywords, and then multiple ad groups. That should give you enough traffic, at least for a basic campaign. Going over this, everything here is fine. We're good, and we're going to hit publish campaign. All right, now we've published our campaign and it is live. So what I would recommend doing right off the bat is disabling the campaign, because we don't want our campaign to run without all of our extensions and proper ad groups set up. And we'll come back here later and turn it back on. All right, so now we have our fiberglass pool installation ad group. And what we're going to do is add 3 separate ads inside of this fiberglass pool installation ad group. And we're going to build out more ad groups, but for right now, it's easier just to build out the ads inside this one ad group and then duplicate them out later. That's why I do this first. It'll save you a whole bunch of time when it comes to actually creating and making ads, because then we don't have to make like 3 ads in every single ad group. It'll save us a whole bunch of time. Make sure to actually select your ad group. So we're going to come down here to Pool Installation Elite Pools, and we're going to click our ad group. We're going to hit done, and then we're going to hit paste, and this will paste our ad into our actual ad group. So we'll have 2 ads inside this ad group. And essentially what that means is there's going to be 2 ads that are going to be able to rotate inside of our ad group. And we're going to do this one more time once this pops up. All right, now we have our second ad. What we're going to do now is copy this again. We're going to hit copy. We're going to hit paste, and this should pop up. If for whatever reason it doesn't select, just make sure you select your ad group. We're going to hit done. If ad already exists, please check mark this one. Please create the duplicate. And then we're going to add another one. So we want 3 ads in total here. This is the best recommendation I can make. 3 to 5 ads is, you shouldn't really go over 5, because if you go over 5, you're going to have generally too much for Google to handle. It's not going to be able to A/B test effectively. So we really only want 3 ads in this ad group. All right, and now we have our third ad group. And what we're going to do is come into each of these and make sure we change them. We're going to leave the first one because it's fine. But all the other ones, we want to go in and create new ads. I'm going to just type in Elite Pool Company, just so we can identify that it is different. But please go through here, switch all this out, create a new ad. It's going to take some time, but it'll definitely be worth it in the long run. The next thing is switching the final ad here. Let's just put Fiberglass Pools Installation. Again, this is not what you should actually be doing. Please go through here and make sure you change all these headlines. I'm just changing these for the sake that we can identify them later, that they are different ads. As we can see here, Elite Pools, Elite Pool Company, Elite Pools Installation. These are 3 different ads. And what we're going to do now is create out 3 different ad groups. And the reason I make the ads before I make the ad groups is because now we can just copy and paste these ad groups and switch very minute details about them, and we don't have to write them all out over again. So what we can do is we come to our campaign, we hit Pool Installation Campaign, we hit our ad groups, and then we're going to just copy and paste this actual ad group inside of our campaign. So we're just going to hit done, hit paste. And depending on the size of your ad group, this may take some time. Generally, you can just refresh it and it will pop up within a minute or 2. All right, as you can see, we've duplicated out our ad group. So this actual ad group will have all of our ads and keywords inside of it. I'm going to rename this one to Vinyl Pool Installation here. Vinyl Pool Installation, just so we can identify it later. And then we're going to copy Fiberglass Pool Installation out one more time, and we're going to make a third ad group, and we're going to name it In-Ground Pool Installation. So we're going to have a decent amount of traffic coming to this campaign, and we'll be able to test what services we should be offering, which ones convert better, which ones will make us more successful in the long run. All right, so now our final ad group has popped up, and what we're going to do is hit our pencil icon right next to the ad group, and we're going to type in ground pool installation. And here comes the fun part. We get to go into each of these and change out the actual keywords. So for the sake of simplicity here, I'm just going to change all of this to vinyl. All you have to do here is come into your actual keywords and change all of the fiberglass parts out with pool installation. So you can just hit vinyl, and I'm just going to copy vinyl. It'll make it a lot easier. And for the sake of simplicity, you just go down this list. There's not that many. If you had, thousands of keywords here, you could absolutely use the auto feature when it comes to switching things out. But if we only have 20, it's just easier to do this one, I find. And one more. And that's all we have to do. It's very, very simple. And this will now pop up for vinyl pool installation instead of fiberglass pool installation. And the last thing we have to do for this ad group is come in here to ads and change out all of the actual fiberglass related stuff. So as we can see here, the display path is fiberglass. We'll switch that to vinyl. Elite Pool Installation, we would change all of this to vinyl. And I'll show you a quick tip in a second on how to make this even quicker so we don't actually have to come in here, provided your keyword is the same length. And fiberglass pools, we're going to switch all of this out. And that's fine. We'll switch that out. Final. Yeah, that's fine. So switch everything out of fiberglass, replace it with vinyl, and do that for all 3 ads. Now, for save time for most people, you can get away with this. I would hit all 3 ads. You can hit edit. You can hit change ads. And when you come down here to display path, I'm going to put in vinyl pool installation. And this is actually going to switch all our display paths to vinyl pool installation instead of fiberglass pool installation. This will make our life a lot more easier so we don't have to go in and change everything out. As you can see, fiberglass pool installation here will now be switched with the vinyl pool installation. Make sure you know what you're doing here because you can actually screw up a lot of things inside this ad. We're going to hit find and replace. We're going to replace fiberglass with vinyl pools, or just vinyl. That's fine. And hit apply. And now all of our ads here have been changed to vinyl. Make sure you go back through them. Make sure you open it up. Just make sure everything sounds right and nothing's like funky. That like maybe you added vinyl, like fiberglass and vinyl pools, and now it's vinyl pool. Like make sure go through your ads, make sure they're right. And then we would go in here to the in-ground pool ad group and do the exact same thing. Change out the keywords, change out the ad groups, and make sure everything is good to go. Once everything is good to go, we have one final extension I would add to our ad group, and we'd come over here to extension, and we're going to add the actual location extension of our business. We would just hit extension, and then we can hit select curated location, find a business manager profile or link to a business manager profile. Whatever you want to do is completely fine, but I would make sure to add that in if location is a part of your business. It's another nice little ad to add in. Now, when it comes to optimizing this account, what I normally recommend doing is making sure your click-through rate is at least above 5% for your ads. If it's not, keep switching them out, trying new ads, find the lowest performer, switch it out, but give it some time. Don't immediately switch it out. I would say probably give those ads at least a month to run, depending on how much traffic you're getting, and then switching out the lowest performer with a new ad and trying to always beat the current champion. The next thing is for optimization, finding the winning and losing keywords. So as you can see here, there's no data in the account, but once every keyword has at least 10 clicks, and you're not going to have 10 clicks on every single keyword at the same time, but like say fiberglass pool installation gets 10 clicks and there's no conversions. I would pause that. All you have to do is come in here to the little green button, hit pause, and your keyword will be paused. It will no longer run for that. But if you have 2 or more conversions for a certain keyword, that's a winner. If you have 1 or less, I generally recommend turning it off. It's just generally not going to be that profitable for you. But that's generally how I go. Get at least 10 clicks in for a certain keyword, then make a judgment on it based on how high the conversion rate is. 2 or more, I generally keep. 1 or less, get rid of generally. Another thing you can do is come in here to search terms, and once you have enough data inside the account, you're actually going to see a list of search terms people actually typed in. And since you're using exact match, they're going to be very closely related to the keywords you're using. But that being said, there are still going to be some variations of them. So say, one of them is fiberglass, pool installation, tips. That's not something we really want to, tips and tricks, or something we don't want to go after. It's going to pop up here in the search term, and all we'd have to do is highlight it and put it into our negative keyword. So if we want to add a negative keyword, and all a negative keyword is a keyword we don't want to show up. So maybe in our search term report, pool installation tips and tricks pops up, pool installation tips and tricks pops up. We don't want to add that. We can add this as a broad match, phrase match, or exact match. For this, I'd probably add it as a phrase match, just because if this phrase isn't anything we don't want to pop up for it, you should be fine. Broad match might be a little too much for this, but phrase match you definitely get away with in this type of account. And then all we have to do is, for phrase match, we put parentheses around this, and then we just hit save, and we have successfully added our negative keyword. And that's essentially it for optimization. There's definitely other things you can do. Expanding out your ad groups when you want to find out more keywords, that will help with search volume and finding lower cost keywords. Always be expanding your account. Always be A/B testing everything in the account. A/B test your landing pages or website or whatever you're using. Make sure you're always trying to optimize and grow the account. That way you can stay ahead of the curve and ahead of your competition. And if you do everything I just told you, all you have to do is then finally come up here to pause, hit enabled, and you should be good to go. So that's how to set up a successful search campaign inside Google Ads. If you have any comments or questions regarding this actual campaign, leave them in the comment section down below. Other than that, you guys have a wonderful day and take care.